Peace, love, and blessings, fam. Day 30 of 60 of Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne W. Dyer. If you've rolled with me this entire 30 days, go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. If you haven't, and this is your first time here or you've caught bits and pieces, give yourself a round of applause as well. Now, you can always go to YouTube to Loyalty Life, spelled Lyfe, Legacy, and start wherever you feel. Pick whichever topic piques your interest, and then in the comments, let me know how you feel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into day 30. Self-reliance. These are the voices which we hear in solitude, but they grow faint and inaudible as we enter into the world. Society everywhere is in conspiracy against the manhood of every one of its members. Society is a joint stock company in which the members agree, for the better securing of his bread to each shareholder, to surrender the liberty and culture of the eater. The virtue in most request is conformity. Self-reliance is its aversion. It loves not realities and creators, but names and customs. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. He who would gather immortal palms must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore if it be goodness. Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. Ralph Waldo Emerson, yet again. American poet, essayist, and philosopher known for challenging traditional thoughts. Emerson developed a philosophy that upholds intuition as the way to comprehend reality. The ideas of this one essay, Self-Reliance, have influenced all my writing, and I consider Emerson one of my greatest teachers, even though he passed on well over a century ago. Ralph Waldo Emerson was known as much for his essays as for his poetry. In perhaps his best known and most frequently quoted essay, Self-Reliance, this provocative American author, known as the father of the Transcendentalist movement, examined in depth the basic tenets of what it means to be your own person. I can still remember the impact that these essays, Self-Reliance, and on the necessity of civil disobedience by Emerson's contemporary Henry David Thoreau had on me when I was a 17-year-old high school student. In this brief excerpt, Emerson speaks to the necessity of being a nonconformist to be fully alive, and of resisting enculturation. Society demands conformity at the expense of individual liberty, he asserts. It demands that you fit in or be an outcast. Emerson insists on the integrity of the individual mind, maintaining that it is essentially sacred. Now, remember that Emerson was also a minister who is informing us that the mind is what is sacred. Not the rules, laws, and social mores, but your mind. Further on in Self-Reliance, Emerson declares, "No law can be sacred to me but that of my nature." This profoundly courageous statement is from a fearless man who knew that divinity and sacredness are not in the institutions of the church, but in the minds of individuals. Our conduct makes us divine creatures, not our memberships. How we use our mind as free-thinking people is what makes us sacred, not how well we cite the laws to protect our malice or vanity. When you stop to consider most of the evils that have been perpetrated on humanity, they have virtually all been accomplished under the protective custody of society's laws. Socrates was murdered because the law said it was proper to so dispose of intellectual descendants. Joan of Arc was torched at the stake because it was the law. Herod ordered all the male babies in an entire country to be systematically unalive because it was his rule. When my own mother was born, one half of the population, that is, 100% of the women, could not vote in America because the rule said so. At the time I was born, millions of people were being herded into camps and all their possessions confiscated because of inhumane laws. It was the law that required black people to sit in the rear of the bus, drink at separate drinking fountains, and live lives of separate and inferior opportunity. So please don't cite the laws and rules of society to justify your actions. Please don't cite the laws and rules of society to justify your actions. People who truly understand what it means by self-reliance know they must live their lives by ethics rather than rules. It is possible to find some obscure law or rule or societal tradition to justify virtually anything. Those who do not give priority to the integrity of their own mind will indeed cite laws to explain why they do what they do. Aspiring to be a more sacred being means shedding your reliance on conformity. Emerson went on in this provocative essay to say, "I am ashamed to think how easily we capitulate to badges and names, to large societies and unalive institutions." He spoke openly of the long-held but immoral institution of slavery, which was protected by law. I ought to go upright and vital and speak the rude truth in all ways. If malice and vanity were the coat of philanthropy, shall that pass? Recall, if you will, that Emerson was speaking and writing like this while slavery was legal and protected by society. What does this essay on self-reliance say to us today? It encourages us to cultivate ethics rather than rules or laws as the governing inner light for ourselves. If we know it is right, it will be in harmony with spiritual principles, many of which have been written about in this book. For example, mercy. The law shows no mercy when it lawfully executes prisoners. When lawmakers, jurors, or the press say that the perpetrator showed no mercy, so why should the law? You must seek your sense of what is right to formulate your opinion. If mercy is an essential aspect of your spiritual practice, then citing someone else's lack of it is hardly a justification to ignore your own inner truth. This is self-reliance, not thinking like the herd or citing its rules as your rationale for your own inner truth. Emerson does not ask you to deliberately disobey any law, rather, to use your own sense of ethics in running your life. He makes it clear that whoso would be a man or woman must be a nonconformist. I suggest that the best way to employ this profound truth from Emerson is to learn how to be quietly effective in your life. That is, have no need to make public pronouncements about how you refuse to conform, and instead take solace in the comfort of your own inner strength and proceed as a solid individual who knows how to rely on yourself. I practiced Emerson's philosophy starting with my discovery of his essay when I was 17. In 1959, I was 19, in the Navy, stationed aboard an aircraft carrier, the USS Ranger. President Eisenhower was scheduled to fly over our ship, and all the sailors were required to get into full dress uniform and spell out, "Hi, Ike." On the flight deck, as the president flew to a political meeting in San Francisco. When I learned that I was expected to participate, I was outraged at this insult. Yet, I seemed to be a small minority. Apparently, the majority of the crew did not mind conforming in group formation to create this greeting made of human letters. Rather than launching a protest, I recalled the words of Emerson: "Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." But I had to do it silently. I let the conformists go about their tasks while I disappeared into the bowels of the ship until the insult to my self reliance as an individual with dignity was completed. No outbursts, no useless fighting, simply being quietly effective. The rules are not reasons to live a certain way. It is the integrity of your own mind that you must first consult if you are to ever experience this quality of self reliance. This lesson applies to all areas of your life, from making decisions for yourself about how you spend your free time, to how you will dress, to what you will eat, to how you will raise your children. Don't let the voices within you grow faint and inaudible in favor of that societal conspiracy. Be yourself and run your life by what you know to be right and in harmony with your spiritual essence. That is, by the integrity of your own mind. Here are some ideas to help you put this message of self-reliance from Ralph Waldo Emerson to work for you. 1. Read the entire self-reliance essay and list the points Emerson makes in this classic piece of writing. Comment down below if you got this far and you feel like I should do a reading on that. No, I haven't read it, and I'm wondering now, so let me know. 2. When you are about to cite a rule or law to justify why you are acting a certain way, stop and shift to your personal integrity. Do what you do because it is right and it fits with your spiritual truths. If you know forgiveness to be divine, then don't cite a law to justify your unwillingness to forgive. 3. Practice asking yourself if you are dressing or behaving in ways that please you or to fit in. Am I wearing this or doing that because I like it, or because it is so important for me to fit in? Then make the self-reliant choice and see how much better you feel. 4. Declare your independence from society in terms of your own self-identification. 2,500 years ago, Socrates declared, "I am not an Athenian. I am a citizen of the world." You too are a creation of the divine creator of all, and not restricted by any societal laws or labels. Refuse to do anything simply because everyone else is doing it. If it fits with your definition of ethical and right, then by all means proceed, irrespective of what those around you are saying or doing. And I'm pretty sure you've heard, just like I have, and probably many millions of us, your mother asked, "If all your friends jump off the bridge, you gonna do it?" In summary, be yourself, respect yourself, and create a harmonious relationship between the integrity of your own mind and your daily conduct. Now, it's easy to look back and say, "Yeah, I remember my mama asking me that." But with a lot of the things that have taken place in the last couple of years that we all know as C19, how many of y'all did it just because everybody else did it? Ask that to yourself. Answer that to yourself. How many other times in your life have you been given a reward or a treat outside of a child at the dentist's office or the doctor's office, as such as a lollipop, for taking something that a lot of other people were telling you you might want to look out for? Scholarships, freedom from prison, even time with the lady of the night. And a lot of y'all still jumped on the bandwagon for fear. Fear-mongering is one of the major ways that self-reliance is deterred and stamped out, because they know that as long as you are afraid, you will never find, understand, or be your true self. I appreciate you for being your true self in this moment and fully listening to this. Go back and catch some of the other ones. Let me know if I should read Self-Reliance at another time. And let's focus on understanding that you don't have to make a whole bunch of noise to carry a whole lot of weight. My father used to tell me the person that makes the most noise is the one that wants somebody to come break it up. But a lot of the times in the society that we live in this open air mental health facility, the one that makes the loudest noise is the ones that the most people are afraid of. I remember I watched a funny video on I think it's RDC World, where they were making fun of a guy that knew who to pick fights with. And he'd be on the court, bro, what you want to do? I'll slap the out of you right now. I'll slap anybody out here. And somebody else is like, oh yeah, what? You gonna slap everybody? You gonna slap anybody? Well, slap me then. Man, I ain't even talking to you, bro. I'm talking to him right here. But it was a choice. Everything is a choice. So follow your heart. Follow your mind. And if you don't have a foundation of who you are and what you truly believe, please start to study more. Please seek to know more. Because the institutions that were put in place for most of us were specifically to prevent us from growing into higher knowledge, from growing into deeper understanding, and for doing like so many of the other cultures that have just disappeared that they can't explain where they went to. You know why you can't explain it? Because you can't even believe or fathom that you could raise your and elevate your frequency to another level to where you could literally shift into light and move to another dimension to where they're still here around watching us, observing. And they only tap in when they feel they need to for those who are worthy. So allow yourself to be worthy by understanding yourself, knowing yourself, and always being present for yourself. I thank you for being here, more so for yourself than for me. I ask that you walk in love, walk in light, walk in peace, and know that you are loved.